Then we have a program.
Thank you, and I want to say thank you to you. My father is also an Air Force veteran. I was born at Travis Air Force Base in 1964 at the beginning of the Vietnam War, and I told him that I was going to get to be part of recognizing your valor and your courage, and he said to personally thank you so much. Sergeant David Gauntlett served in the Vietnam War advisory team in '67. From May 12th to May 14th in 1969, there was an attack where he was stationed while he was at his post in his radio jeep. And during this time period, David manned the radio jeep and was the only source of communication for tactical air support for his team, and his communication allowed for direct air support and interdiction missions during that period to suppress attacks. His presence at the radio helped locate and destroy the source of the attacks and limit casualties. He was in an exposed position in this jeep and was hit by mortar fragments on the second day, but he didn't leave. As a result of his bravery, his captain, Richard Jerry, recommended him for a Bronze Star with a V device immediately. A V device attached to a Bronze Star medal signifies the award was earned for specific acts of valor or heroism in direct combat with an enemy. But his paperwork was lost, and thus the award was never given to him. His captain, Richard Jerry, realized it hadn't been awarded and came to our office while Peter DeFazio was congressperson. They resubmitted the verification process. It was very long, handed it off to us. Our staff, my staff, who is phenomenal, just didn't let up. It took too long for this recognition, but at long last, here we are, and we're very, very, very proud to give you the recognition you deserved and to thank you so much for your bravery. Your name is
Yay.
All right, so now we have a program that will be brief, but it is very, very significant, and we're so glad you're all here. So what I will do is I'll read the medal citation. The Congresswoman is going to give out the medals, and then with a little bit of luck, we hope that we're going to be able to get Mr. Gauntlett to say a few words to his friends and neighbors because they so want to hear from you. So, to start the reading while the Congresswoman gives the medals, Sergeant Gauntlett distinguished himself by heroism while engaged in military operations involving conflict with an opposing foreign force at Military Assistance Command Vietnam, Advisory Team 67, Republic of South Vietnam, between the 12th and 14th of May 1969. During those 3 days and nights, Sergeant Gauntlett single-handedly manned the Air Force Communication Center, the only point of contact for the coordination of airstrikes and aerial support for the province. Over the period, the compound came under repeated mortar attacks intended to destroy the compound and to inflict heavy casualties. As the attacks continued, Sergeant Gauntlett to deliberately remained in the exposed position of the radio jeep, receiving little rest and sustaining a shoulder wound from mortar shrapnel. His presence at the radios increased substantially the reaction to locate and disturb the source of these attacks, and they reduced the number of casualties that inevitably would have resulted. By his heroic actions and unselfish education to duty, Sergeant Gauntlett reflected great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force.
I'd like to present this. Would you like to come up as well? What do you like? Thank you.
We need a photo op too.
Yes.
I want to be with you.
Yeah, please.
Yes, come on in.
I'm running with the right crowd. Bravo, Mr. Gauntlett.
to you, but you learned it.
Thank you.
And we'd love for you to say a few words, if you
Yes.
wouldn't mind.
So now we need you up here. Be careful. You got your mic.
Try to read this. Put it in large type. Senator, very proud that you could be here and honored, along with Congresswoman Hoyle. And also, of course, point out the other dignitaries in the room, the presence of some vets, which means an awful lot to me. And also my beautiful wife, Barbara, who herself was in the Army National Guard and the United States Navy. And my cousin, Colin, and where's Tegan? Tegan Beck, she's my speech therapist, and she gave me a mission about 3 years ago. I told her that this might be happening, and she said, I want you to write your acceptance speech. And I said, no, it'll just jinx me. Nor have I heard that citation. Retroactive medals are very difficult to approve, and everything needs to be perfect. Congresswoman Hoyle worked relentlessly to get a nomination through the system. And here we are, 56 years later, the medal found me. I want you to know about another battle that took place at the same time. On 13 May 1969, which is during the period that I was dealing with, 2 battalions of the 101st Airborne Division were moved to the base of Hill 937 in the far north of South Vietnam. In the Army, one of the most difficult and deadly operations is a deliberate frontal attack against a well-fortified deliberate defense, particularly if the enemy is on higher ground. And that was what our young soldiers faced. It took several days of intense combat as company after company were sent up that hill, day after day, against a brutal defense leading to hand-to-hand fighting. Ultimately, after several days of battle, the hill was captured on 20 May 1969, sustaining high casualties in several days of attempts. That battle was called Hamburger Hill. Those soldiers who slogged up that muddy hill, they were all heroes, and during the assaults, these soldiers didn't care less about what color or race or religion or any other descriptor anyone was. They didn't care what their uniforms looked like. They only cared about doing what they had to do without getting killed and supporting their battle buddies. Many, if not most, were draftees. Most could not even vote. But when asked to go up that hill, they did it. There were so many who deserved recognition for their bravery. 56 never made it down the hill. Almost 400 wounded did make it down the hill, some with grievous injuries. 5 days after the battle, our forces withdrew and the enemy reoccupied Hill 937. I accept this medal on the proviso that I accept it not for me, but for the 2,700,000 who served in the war between 1960 and 1975. I accept it on behalf of the 58,202 names engraved on the Vietnam Memorial who died during their duty. I accept it on behalf of 304,000 who sustained wounds, some grievous. I accept it on behalf of the 7,484 women who served there. And I accept it with a sense of humility and pride, not only for myself, but all who served. A little more, and then you get your job off. Most of us didn't want to be in Vietnam. We weren't fighting for flag and country. We cared little about politics. We were fighting honorably to do our duty and get home, preferably not in a box. Because we had to, because our country needed us. Some tried to dodge the draft. They lost their honor. Some cowards fled to other countries. All of these lost their honor. Honor is lost and never returned. There is no glory in war. War is nasty, brutal, ugly, dangerous. It is not a video game. It is not a movie. It is not playing Risk. It is people hunting people. Confederate General Sherman said it simply as war is hell, and it is most definitely. It's been 56 years for me. Times have changed, but in many ways they have not. The philosopher George Santayana is quoted as saying, "Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it." History is history. It is what it was. We need to learn from it, not erase it. It is not to be viewed through the lens of the 21st century, but through the lens of how it actually was, rather than what we would wish it to have been. The only path is forward, not backward. Going into a war without a strategic objective and an exit strategy will just create the makings of a quagmire. We did not have an exit strategy in Vietnam, and so the war went on and on and on. Going to war changes you. Every Vietnam veteran carries his own Vietnam with him for the rest of his life. Again, I'm so honored by this award for a few days of my personal Vietnam. I'm deeply grateful that Congresswoman Hoyle nominated me and worked tenaciously to get it done. I'm honored that Senator Wyden could be a part of this. It means more than I can say. Thank you all for attending, and may God bless America.